Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So awkward. I apologize if you see a glare in my glasses. It's because I have a lamp that's right there, but I don't have better lighting in my house. So welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my first ever talking video, which is a video about all of my tips and tricks going to Japan as a female solo traveler. I did a few days with a friend in Japan, but the rest of my 2-week trip was by myself. I've been getting a lot of questions from friends and family and some of the viewers on the internet about different things I did in Japan, just like tips and tricks. I'm gonna be splitting this video into Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. I'm gonna be splitting my tips kind of by city. I'll also be sharing kind of like more female solo traveler specific tips as well in a more like general kind of format. I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Anyway, I went to Japan from the end of April to early May. I took a 13-hour flight to go all the way to Haneda Airport in Tokyo. Ooh, didn't have space for a second on my phone. I stayed in Tokyo for 5 nights. I stayed in Kyoto for 3, Osaka for 4 nights, and then I went back to Tokyo for 2 nights, and I took flight from Tokyo to Seoul after in Korea because that was the latter half of my trip. Okay. First question, how safe is it in Japan? I would say that it's very safe, probably compared to a lot of other countries and cities. It just kind of felt like everyone was kind of keeping to themselves. For example, I had to take my flight from Haneda to Seoul at a very early time in the morning, which meant that I was up and out at around like 4:30 and 5 a.m. when it's really dark outside. Despite all of that, I felt like I was very safe. There wasn't a lot of ruckus or chaos going on that would make me feel uncomfortable. So yeah, in that sense, it was really good. Second question, where should I stay in Japan? I think this is a really broad question that I'm sure other people on YouTube have done videos on, but stay close to a train station. And by that, I mean like a 5-minute walk. I was underestimating sometimes how tired I would be after coming from like a flight. So when I came from airport to Tokyo for the first time and I took the train, even like the 3 minutes of walking, I was like, I just want to get to my hotel right now. So I highly recommend, if you can see that it says 5 minutes or less from the closest train station to your hotel, it is so worth. Another question might be, should I stay in a hotel or hostels? And I think that's really up to preference. I know a lot of people tend to stay in hostels because they're cheaper, and then also you get the opportunity to meet other people. For me, I wasn't really caring about meeting other people as a solo traveler, just because I actually went with the purpose of trying to be by myself and doing things by myself. I'm sure if you want to meet other people and you don't really care about like sharing a space with other people, then a hostel might be better for you. But for me, it was a hotel. I found it to be very to myself, very comfortable. And in Japan, the hotels are relatively affordable as well. So let's kind of dive more into Tokyo. So one of the most popular restaurants that people will go to in Tokyo is Gyukatsu Motomura. They have different chain locations throughout Tokyo, and I see a lot of people going to the one in Shinjuku. I think there's one in Shibuya, maybe I'm wrong, but I went to the one in Akihabara. Best decision ever, because I think I went at around like 5:40 p.m. maybe, but there was no one, like there was no lineup at all. I didn't have to wait hours, and it tasted delicious. And so maybe if you're planning a day in Akihabara, that might be a good dinner choice for that day, because it will be less busy and you'll get to try what is exactly the same but at a different location. If you're gonna go to Shibuya Sky, make sure that you buy your tickets in advance for the sunset time. The day, unfortunately, that I booked my Shibuya Sky tickets, it was very overcast, and also I could only land like a 4:30 p.m. time. I heard a few people on the internet saying that when you're taking the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto or Tokyo to Osaka, to go from Shinagawa station. And it doesn't matter if you're staying around Ginza. I'm quite sure that if you actually took the Shinkansen from Tokyo, the Tokyo station, it is probably closer for you to get to instead of going all the way to Shinagawa. Shinagawa is a lot closer to more like the Shibuya area. So if you are staying close to that Shinagawa area, then that would make a lot of sense for you to take the Shinkansen from there. But if not, there is no reason to go there. Osaka tips. So in terms of where to stay in Osaka, I would say that Osaka Dotonbori area is probably the most interesting area and best place to stay in Osaka, in my opinion. Personally, I found it a lot of fun to be able to explore the Dotonbori area every evening. And although it would kind of get repetitive sometimes because Dotonbori in Osaka in general is not that big, I found that even just hanging around the riverfront area and seeing all like the live music and being around people was just a lot of fun, especially going to do things solo. If you're planning on going to the Don Quijote Ferris wheel, I highly recommend going at dinner time. And if you watch my vlogs, you'll see that I went at dinner time and there was pretty much a really short line. Otherwise, I've seen that the line queue is about like at least an hour. But because I had a really early dinner, I was able to go during dinner time and there was maybe a 20 to 30 minute wait. During my time in Osaka, I went to Nara and I got to see a lot of deer there and things like that. It's becoming increasingly known that you should not wear nice shoes in Nara because you'll step on deer poop. It was pretty much everywhere, so just make sure you don't wear like nice shoes while you're there. Also, try not to wear too nice of clothes either because I had the experience of deer biting my clothes, and they are a little bit aggressive in that way. They will smell the crackers if you hide it, and they'll smell it, they might try to bite you, and your clothes will get dirty or ruined. So, okay. Then lastly, Kyoto. So I did everything super early in Kyoto, and if you're not an early riser, that's fine, but you might have to end up seeing a lot of crowds in Kyoto because everything is very popular. And there are a lot of like big tourist groups. They tend to be in bus tour groups, so it might be worse crowds than Osaka or Tokyo. People asked me how I got photos like this, and that's because I woke up at 4:30 a.m. There was no one there. In fact, there were actually still people there, but it was just a lot quieter. There were less people for sure. Like, that's great and all because you get the Instagram photos, you know, you get to kind of enjoy it in peace and not have like a lot of tourists like yapping in your ears. But because I wanted to go so early, a lot of the other activities, specifically in Arashiyama, were not open. So if you saw my vlog, again, plug, you would know that that was a problem for me because I just basically did nothing for 2 hours. I walked around, I looked at like scenic sites, and it was nice, but I think that is just kind of like a sacrifice I have to keep in mind. I've never seen anyone on the internet telling me this as a tip before I went, but if you go to the Arashiyama Monkey Park, there is a fat hike that you have to take to go up to the top. All the people that I talked to that did end up going to the monkey park all said, yeah, I didn't expect that there would be a 20 to 30 minute walk up a mountain to go to the top of the park. I personally didn't find it that bad of like a hike, but you know, if you are someone who is has a tougher time going up steeper hills, you should just be prepared. Maybe bring some water, bring some nice shoes. Okay, so now I'm gonna give my general tips about solo traveling, specifically more as a female, maybe just solo traveling in general. Actually, these are just tips. Okay, the first one is where you can get a Suica card in the Haneda airport. I was specifically looking for where to walk to get the Suica card because I knew I would take the train from the airport to my hotel. Basically, there's this video, I don't know the creator's name, but I'll link it here. This is kind of what it looks like. I highly recommend watching this video if you're a little bit afraid about, you know, where you're gonna pick up your card and being lost in the airport. If you're trying to take the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto, then you can specifically ride on the right side of the train and be able to see Mount Fuji on the way. I specifically sat on the right side of this train, row D, and I got a wonderful view of Mount Fuji as I went by, and it was clear. Personally, I didn't even think about it until I watched this Shinkansen video and I was like, wait, that's like an amazing tip. So highly recommend. I would advise you don't club or drink alone, especially if you are a female. It's always going to be a little bit harder to keep out for safety. If you're intoxicated, you won't be fully aware of your surroundings, no matter how good of a drunk you are, and you never know if someone's going to spike your drink. I only drank once during my Japan trip when I was actually with a friend for a little bit. Even then, I was like, this is a little bit scary. How much cash should I bring as a female solo traveler? I had a personal problem while I was in Japan where my credit cards were not working. I didn't have Amex I had MasterCard, a Visa, and my TD credit cards. Only my TD credit cards worked. I had a travel visa that didn't work, and having $800 Canadian in cash is probably a decent amount. I think I saw someone that said that her credit cards were working a lot and she just brought like $400 a week. So if you have credit card issues, you won't have any options except to use cash, right? So, or if you have a Wise card, which allows you to kind of withdraw cash at any ATM. On the subject of cards, bring multiple credit cards. Also, if you're solo traveling, you won't really have anyone to depend on for money. So don't bring more than a carry-on if possible. And maximum, bring an empty luggage. I am not a huge fan of like Japanese fashion just because that's not really what Canadians wear on an everyday basis. I just brought a carry-on all the way to Japan and it was half empty. I brought a lot of basics and that saved me because I could basically mix and match different clothes for each day. So more on girlhood. Japan, clothes are definitely more conservative and the fit tends to be a little bit boxier or baggier. And that's just kind of how their fashion is. So they wear long skirts, they tend to wear cover-ups, long sleeves. Just kind of keep that in mind. Fashionable shoe options. New Balance 574s. They are just so cushiony. Hold my ankles well. The New Balance 530s are also very comfortable. I bought them during my Japan trip. Bring skirts. So I brought one skirt for my Japan trip. I kind of want to match the vibe. I would highly recommend to bring a skirt. And additionally, kind of like what I was talking about before, make sure to bring some like outer shirts or like long sleeve shirts to use as a cover up. So I brought a linen cover up as my cover up. I would just highly recommend to bring shirts and pants that just kind of go with each other, mix and match everything. And then you don't have to bring nearly as much as other people. So yeah. I was thinking a lot about what type of bag I wanted to bring all the way to Japan, and I brought this backpack. It's like not too big. If I bought stuff, I could keep it inside of this bag. Fanny pack would be a little bit too small. I couldn't fit my tripod in it, so having a backpack was actually pretty nice. The mini round shoulder bag at Uniqlo, it fits a lot. This actually fits my tripod, and it doesn't look like it does, but it does. Because Japan is a little bit more cash heavy, a lot of people will end up having a lot of extra coins. Saw a few people online getting coin organizers. My friend Jenica had one and it could only fit a maximum of like 10 coins in each type of coin slot. Instead, I would wait until you get to Japan and buy a coin purse because that is actually very popular there. When you walk around, especially in Kyoto, I found that there were a lot of really cute coin purse options. Might be not only a really good souvenir, but also very practical while you're in Japan. All right, and then my last tip, finally, to bring a portable hand sanitizer bottle and a portable charger. Maybe you want to grab a quick bite and eat like a little thing that you found on the street. It's always best to maintain your hygiene and keep a little hand sanitizer bottle with you. And lastly, a portable charger. I have this one from Anchor that I got like years ago, and I think it's probably around like $40 something on Amazon. I've had this since high school and it's working perfectly fine still. It's super durable. It has 4 full charges on the actual pack. Right now it's only at 2. You can kind of see it with like the blue dots. I would charge this every night during my trip in Asia, and then I'd have 4 full charges for myself throughout the day. Highly recommend this portable charger if you're looking for a really good one and worth the investment. Solo traveling can get hard. There were times, especially when I was in Kyoto, where it was rainy all the time, it was overcast, the weather was not poppin'. I felt like kind of lonely sometimes. So go on a walk, go to the lobby. This is all part of like the learning process, and not to be ashamed if you feel like you're getting lonely during your trip. Even for someone like myself who is very strong on their own and honestly never gets those kinds of thoughts just out and about living life, I still got them during my trip in Japan. Push through. Just put yourself in a situation where maybe you feel like you're more surrounded by people. Okay, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have more questions. Leave them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer, or if there's anything else you want to see. And I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.